Hello guys, welcome to NameTech channel. My name is Nehemiah, and guys, today we are going to talk about Python variables. And guys, before we get started, please subscribe to my channel, and it does not come automatic unless you click that red button until it turns to gray, and also click the like button, the thumbs up. And guys, let's understand what is Python variables. Basically, Python variables are the containers for storing data values. And I like using this example, if you have a water tank for storing water to be used in future. And so likewise, variables, these are like the containers for storing data values to be used, later. And so guys, first of all, let's open our text editor. We are using PyCharm as our IDE, Integrated Development Environment for Python. Let's open our text editor here, and then again, let's create a new project here. Click on the new project here, and then again, you can give the name here for this new project. Like let me say test, or let me say tutorials. Let me say tutorial. Let me say tutorial. So this is the name of the project. And then guys, here at the interpreter, you can select the Python you're using. I'm using Python 3, which is the latest version of Python. And then guys, once you're done, then I click create. And so guys, once it's open, then right click on your project here, the tutorial here, right click, and then click on the new, then go down here to Python file here. And then guys, I give it a name like let me just give it any name like app, and then I do at a click enter. And so guys, before we start, first of all, let's understand how to create Python variables. And by the way, Python has no command for declaring variables like other programming languages, like JavaScript. And also a variable is created the moment you first assign value to it. And so guys, let's try this example here. Like let's say x equals to, let's assign it to something like 20, and then let's add also y, then assign it to a string. So let me give it let me assign it to a string. Let me say let me use my brand here. Let me say NameTech underscore ke, and then guys, let's now print out what? Let's print out let's say print what? Print x, and then also print y, of which is a string, so print y. And then guys, I click on the run, then I go down here to click on the run, and then guys, click on the here on the app, and then guys, you can see here at the terminal we have printed 20, which is our integers here. And then y is our string here, so we have printed an integer which is 20, and then also y, which is an a string here. Then guys, the other thing that we need to know about Python variables, they do not need to be declared with any particular type, and I can even change the type after they have been set. Like let me clear everything here, and then I will begin afresh. Let me just clear everything, and then guys, let me first of all create here the first variable, of which I'm going to assign it to an integer. So let me say x equals to something like let me say 100, and then I do what? Let me print what? Let me print x. And so guys, let's try to print out x. So go to the run here, and then guys, here you can see we have the shortcut for to run, which is shift plus F10. So other times shall be using the shortcut, which is shift plus F10 to run our programs on our terminal here. And then guys, you can see that we have printed out 100. But then guys, I want us to do this. I want us to understand this aspect that variables do not need to be declared with any particular type. Like if you say again x equals to, then let me assign it to a string like NameTech again, NameTech underscore ke, And then guys, let's now try to print out X, and then guys, you are going to find out that it will print this second string here, and then it will not print the integer. So you do not need to specify the type for it to to give you the output. But let me try this example. Let me click. Remember, our shortcut is Shift plus F10, and then guys, you can see it prints out nemtek_ke. And then guys, the other thing that I want us to talk about here in variables, Python variables, is casting. So if you want to specify a data type of a variable, this can be done with casting. So like let's try this example here. Let's try this example, guys, and let me first of all clear everything here, and then guys, like let me say, for example, X, and then equals to, and then let me say string. So this one, let me say str for string. Then let me say, for example, let me say something like 10, and then guys, here the next thing. Now let me add also y, and then let me say integer, actually integers. Then let me say again 10, and then what else, guys? Also for let me add also z, and then let me say this one to be a float. Let me say this one to be a float. Actually, let me begin with that. Let me say float. And then let me open and close the bracket, the normal brackets, and then here let me again say let me say 10. Then now to the print, let me say print x, and then print x, and then guys, again here let me say print y, and lastly print z, and then guys, when you click, remember our shortcut is Shift then F10 to run our programs in our terminal here. And then guys, you are going to see that this one is an integer, this one is a string, then this one is a float. So basically this is all about casting. And then guys, let's now try to understand how to get the type in our variables. So if you want to get the data type of a variable, we use the type function. Let me clear everything here, and then let me do it. Let me say, like let me use this example. Let me say x equals to for example 10, and then guys, for y, let me type in my website where we teach this kind of programming courses. And then here let me use a string here, and then let me say www nemtek.com, and then guys, let's try to print out. Let me say print, and then open and close open the brackets, and then inside say type. Let me say type, and then open again the brackets, and then let me say x again. Guys, for the other one, let's say print type, and then y, and then what, let's open and close the bracket, and then let's give it y, and then guys, we know that x is an integer, and then y is a string. Let's now try to print out and see what's going to happen here. So let's click on the Shift then F10, the shortcut, and then guys, you can see that here, let me try to zoom in, and then guys, you can see that here the class is an integer, the first one, and then the second one is a string. So guys, this is how you can obtain the type in Python. And then guys, the other thing that I want us to understand here is that Python, in Python you can use a single or a double quote. You can see here I've been using a double quote. Let's now try to use a single quote. Let's try to use a single quote. First of all, let me clear everything. And before anything, guys, let me try to write what, let me say ix, and then let me use a string here, and then let me say nametag underscore ke. And then guys, here you can see I've used a double quote. Then we are going to try with a single quote, and then let me say what, print x. And then guys, let's now try to run these let's now try to run these stuffs here. Shift then F10, and then guys, you can see here at the bottom at the terminal we have printed what, nametag underscore ke. So I want us to try with a single quote. Let me say x equals to, let me use a single quote here, and then let me say nametag underscore ke. And then guys, shift then F10, and then guys, you can see that it still works. So basically in Python you can use actually a single or a double quote. And then guys, the other aspect that we need to understand here about these Python variables is that they are case sensitive. Like let me try to use this example. Like let me say here, let me use the capital X. Let me use a capital X here, and then here perhaps let me change and give it something else, like let me say my website. Let me type in my website. They are both strings, so let me say www.nametag.com, and then here let me say print x, and then again here let me say print now the x with a capital X here. So guys, you're going to find out that it's going to print two different items here. They are both x, but now we have changed just the cases. So let's now try to print out. Remember the shortcut is shift then plus F10, and then guys, you can see here at the terminal we have printed out nametag, and then here also we have printed out we have printed out this is our website here, the domain here. But then guys, let me try to say what, let me try to say x. Let me try to use a small x here, and then guys, here also let me change it to small x, and then click on what, shift then plus F10, and then guys, you can see here at the terminal that we have printed this second thing here, which is this domain here, my website here, nametag.com, but it has not printed these are first declaration here. And then basically now you understand that Python is Python is case sensitive. And then guys, the other thing that I want us to talk about here is the Python variables names. So like variables can have short name like x and y, or more descriptive name like age, car name, total volume, and so forth. So rules for Python variables, like the first one, the rules for declaring this variable's name. The first one is that a variable name must start with a letter or the underscore character. And then also the other rule is that a variable name cannot start with a number. And then the third one is that the variable name can only contain an alphanumerical characters, underscores like A to Z, 0 to 9, and then the underscore. And so guys, let's try to use an example here for us to understand. So guys, let me say let me try to zoom in so that you may see well. Let me try to zoom in, and then let me first of all clear everything here, and then let me say, for example, let me say my variable, my var equals to, and then let me use for example, let me say Nehemiah. My name is Nehemiah. Let me say Nehemiah, and then guys, the second one I want us to use let me use this one. Let me say my, and then underscore. Let's try with an underscore, and then let me say var, my variable, and then equals to, and then let me say Nehemiah again, Nehemiah, and then the third one, let me say let's begin now in the underscore. and then let me say my, then also let's use another underscore here, and then let me say my var, actually my var, my variable equals to, then let me use the string here, let me say Nehemiah again, Nehemiah, and then again and then I guess here let me say my, then let me begin with a capital VAR, and then let me say what, let me say again I open and close the quotation marks, and then let me say what, let me say again Nehemiah, and then the last one, or not the last, let me try to use all of them to be caps, in caps. Let me say my VAR, and then I'll do what, let me say again Nehemiah, let me say Nehemiah, and then lastly let me try to use an example, this last example here, let me say let me mix the string and the integer here, let me say my VAR, but now let me add an integer like let me say 10, let me say 10, and then equal sign, then let me assign it to again Nehemiah. And so guys, I want us to print these stuffs here, so let me say, and then guys let's now try to print out. Let me begin with this one. These are my VAR, so let me say my VAR, so this is the first one, and then guys the second one here is print, let's say print, and then it is print, and then it is my, then underscore VAR, and then I guess the third one is what is, it begins with the underscore, let's say print, and let's say print, then let's say then I guess here let's say what, let's say underscore my, then underscore VAR variable, and then I guess the other one which is let's say print, and then let's say what, let's say my, but now the VAR begins with the caps, let me say VAR, and then I guess the second last here is print, let's say print, and then all of them are so let me say my VAR, so let me say my VAR, and then I guess the last one here, let's now try this last one, which is let's say print, then let me say print what, let me say my VAR, now with an integer here which was 10. And so guys, I want us to print here at the terminal, so you remember the shortcut, it is shift then plus F10, and then I guess here at the terminal you can see that it has printed out Nehemiah to the end. So basically guys, these are the rules on how you can you just print out these variables. And then let's now try guys with the error here, the one with the error. Let me clear everything here, and then guys here let me say what, let me say like let's begin with an integer like let me say 2, and then let me say my VAR, and then guys let me assign it to again Nehemiah. Actually let me assign it to Nehemiah. Let me open and close the quotation marks, and then let me say Nehemiah, and then guys you can see let's not try to print out. So you remember the shortcut shift plus F10, and then guys you can see here the terminal it brings an error here, that the syntax error here, invalid decimal literal. So basically you cannot start with what, with an integer. And guys the other thing that I want us to talk about here in the variable names is the multi-words variable names. And a variable names with more than one word can be difficult to read. There are several techniques that you can use to make them more readable. Like the first one, we use the camel case. So each word except the first start with a capital letter. Let me clear everything here, and then let's try this example. So this is the camel case. Like let me say my, and then let me say my variable name, actually name, let me say name, my variable name, then equal sign, then let me use a string here again. Let me use now nametech underscore ke, and then guys, let's now print out. Let's say print, and then let's say let me say what? Let me say my variable name, and then guys, click on shift, then plus F10 to print out. And then guys, you can see here the terminal, it has printed what, the nametech underscore ke. So basically this rule is called what? Is called the camel case. And then there's another one called the Pascal case. So each word start with a capital letter. So the Pascal case, each word start with a capital letter. Like let me say what? Like I guess let me say what? Let me say like let me say my variable name, and then let me say what? Let me say let me use my website now, nametech.com, and then guys, let's print out what? Let me say print my variable name. Then you remember the shortcut is shift plus F10, and then guys, you can see here that at the terminal here it prints out what this website here, and then guys, basically this technique is called what? Is called the Pascal case. And then guys, we have the other one, the other technique which is called the snake case. So now with the snake case, each word is separated by an underscore. Let me clear everything, then guys, let me try to do it. Let me try to use this example here. Like let me say my then let me say my variable, then let me use an underscore again, then I say name, then let me say name, and then let me say let me use what? Let me use my name now. Let me use Wekesa. This time, and then let me print what? Let me say print, and then I'm going to say what? Let me say print my, and then my variable name here, then you remember the shortcut to run these stuffs in our terminal, shift plus F10, or you can go here and then run it, but then you can see the shortcut is shift plus F10. Then just click on it, then here at the terminal guys, you can see that it prints out Wekesa. And basically this technique is called the snake case. And then guys, the other thing that I want us to talk about here in the Python variables is to assign multiple values. And basically guys, Python allows you to assign values to multiple variables in one line. Like let me clear everything in there, and then I use this example. Like let me say x, comma, and then y, comma, and then what? Z, comma, not really comma, then let me say equals, then let me assign these stuffs. Let me say here the first one, let me say Nehemiah, and then the second one, let me first of all create a comma here, then let me say the second thing for y, let me say Nehemiah loves, then let me say create again a comma here, and then let me say Nehemiah loves what? Nehemiah loves programming. Let me say programming, Nehemiah loves programming. And then guys, here at the print, here let me say print, let me say print what? Let me say print first of all print x, and then again print what? Print y, and then again print z, and then guys, let's now try to run it. Remember the shortcut shift plus F10, and then guys, you can see that we have printed out Nehemiah loves programming. And then guys, now you can see that Python allows you to assign values to multiple variables in one line. then I guess the other one is one value to multiple variables. So basically you can assign the same value to multiple variables. So like let me clear everything and then I begin repeat again. Like let me say x, then let's say equals to y, then again equals to z, and then let me assign it to equals to z, and then let me assign it to this string. Let me say Nehemiah. Let me say what? Let me say Nemtek underscore ke, and then guys here let me say what? Let me say print. Let me say print what? Print x, and then again here let me say print what? Print y, and then again print what? Print z. So basically y, x, y and z is going to be what? Is going to be Nemtek underscore ke, because we have assigned one value to multiple variables. So let's now try to run it. Shift then a plus F10, and then guys you can see here at the terminal that we have printed out Nemtek thrice. So basically you can use one value to multiple variables. And then guys let's now try to discuss also how to unpack a collection. So for example if you have a collection of values in a list, for example a tuple etc. So for example Python allows you to extract the values into variables. This technique is called what? Unpacking. Let me clear everything here and then I'll try to do it practical so that you may understand. So let me now try to unpack a list. So let me say for example fruit. Let me say fruits. Let me say fruits, and then let me say for example let me use first of all create this is called what? The square bracket, I guess. And then let me say use this example like let me say apple, and then the other one let me use what? Let me say something like avocado. I like avocado very much. Let me say avocado, and then the other one is, let me try to say something like let me say what? Let me say banana. Actually this is banana. And then guys now let's try to print out. Actually before I print out, now let me say x, then y, then let me say z, and then let me say equals to fruits. Equals to fruits. So let's now try to print out what? Let's now try to print let's try to print out what? X, and then also print out y. Actually let's try to print what? Let's try to print this one is y, and then the other one is z. So print what? Print z. Is it z? Then shift plus F10, and then guys you can see here the terminal that I have printed out apple, avocado and banana. And then guys basically this is how you can do it. You can unpack a list. And then guys the other thing that I want us to talk about here is the output variables. And let me say x equals to let me say then let me say Python. Let me say Python is my favorite programming language. Python is my favorite programming language. And then let's print out. And guys basically Python used print then into bracket a function to do it for output variable for output variables. So like here when I type in x, then guys is going to do what? It's going to do what? It's going to print out this stuff here. And then you can see that Python is my favorite programming language. And then guys there's another technique to in the print function where you can you output multiple variables separated by a comma. Like let me say what? Let me say clear first of all everything, and then let me say here x equals to Python, let me say Nehemiah, and then let me say z, actually x, y, then let me say here, then a comma. You can use a double or a single comma, a single quotation mark, and then here let me say what loves, Nehemiah loves, and then here let me say z, then let me say what, let me say loves, let me say Python, let me say Python, and then now here at the print function here, let me say print what, let me say z, x, and then now y, and then what, and then z. You can output your variables using these stuffs here, this print function with when you separate with the comma here. So guys, let's click on the shift, and then do what, shift F10, and then guys, you can see Nehemiah do what, Nehemiah loves Python. And also guys, you can also use the plus symbol here. You can use the addition symbol here at the output, so use the plus symbol. Also here the plus symbol here, let's say use the plus symbol, but then here use the the white space here. Let's create a white space here, and then also here labs, let's again create a white space. First of all, let's view if you do not create a white space, guys. So these words are going to be close to each other. Let's print out. So click plus F10, and then guys, you can see here that these words are close to each other. So let's try to create a white space here. So Nehemiah, then a white space, and then here loves, then let me create a white space, then click on shift plus F10, then guys, you can see that Nehemiah loves Python. So basically you can also use the addition to do what, to for output. And then guys, when you use this plus in number, so it will mean that it's a mathematical operator. So like if you use numbers, like let's try it, say 50 plus what, plus let me say here 40, plus 40, then here plus something like let's say 10 plus 10. So it will print what, it will print 100. So shift plus F10, and then guys, you can see it prints out 100 still. Or let me try to use this example, like let me say 60, then I shift F10, and then guys, you can see that it is 150. So let's try with an error. So in the print function, when you try to combine the string and the number with the operator, plus operator, Python will give you an error. Like let me say let me use something like Nehemiah. Let me say Nehemiah. Actually, let me make it Nehemiah. Let me say Nehemiah, and then I guess I do what, let me click on shift plus F10, and then I guess you can see that it brings me an error, because you can see the type error, the unsupported operand types, for addition, and then an integer and a string. So basically you cannot use an integer and a string actually, so when using this plus operator. But I guess the best way is to use the comma here, like let me add a comma, also here let me add a comma, and then I do what, let me print out shift plus F10. Then I guess you can see here at the terminal it brings me 60 Nehemiah 50, and then basically guys, you can see that when you use the commas it works, but when you use the addition operators it will bring you an error. Now guys, the last thing that I want us to talk about here is the global variables. And guys, basically the global variables can be used by everyone, both inside and of a function or outside. So let's now try this example. Let me clear first of all these stuffs here, and then guys, let's now try this example here. Like let me say x, and then let me assign it to let me say Python. Let me say Python. Let me create First of all, these are quotation marks, and then let me say Python. Let me say Python, and then here let me say define. Let me say div, and then let me say my. Remember, these are preserved keywords in Python. Let me say my func, and then open and close this bracket, then colon, and then here you ensure that you remember that yesterday in the previous video we said that and the Python considers indentation. Indentation is very, very important in Python. So, and then here let me say print. Let me say print what? Let me say print. Let me say and then quotation mark. Then let me say Nehemiah loves, and then let me also Nehemiah loves, and then here let me add what? Let me add let me say plus, and then this X, so it will be Nehemiah loves what? Nehemiah loves Python. And then I guess here let me say what? And then I guess in the other line now, first of all ensure that you remove this indentation here, and then let me say my func. Then I guess let's now try to print out shift plus what? Plus F10, and then I guess you can see here that Nehemiah does what? Nehemiah loves what? Now loves Python. And then I guess there's something here I should have added this what? I should have added a white space here. Let me add a white space here, and then I click what? Shift plus F10. Then you can see guys Nehemiah loves Python. And I guess basically this is how you can do it. This is how you can create a variable outside of a function and use it inside the function. And I guess I don't want to exhaust you with a lot, but I think you have gained something about these Python variables. And so guys, if you find that the video has been of help to you, please consider subscribing and also like the video. I'll appreciate kabisa. So guys, until next time, goodbye.